a breath. Think about what you are the most thankful for so far this day. What are you the most thankful for today? Just think about it. This is what I'm the most thankful for today. To today, in this 17th of June. And you listen to Alexander, and you listen to Carl. What you realize is that there are cycles of reality. Those who speak to Alexander, and those who through stones and codexes and new monuments speak to Carl. If you listen to Alexander, you can see that there is a level of consciousness that which, listening to Carl, is possible to come into reality and exist. And you can travel to Mesoamerica or Bosnia and see for yourself. It's not maybe it's true. It's true. It says that we have a common origin of our history. The 7 to 9 tiers on the columns of the temples or pyramids. The same as in India. The same as in Bosnia. Who knows what that pyramid in Bosnia looks like when the dirt is removed? The same as in China. So somewhere we have a common origin. And if you listen to Carl, you realize that that common origin is telling us that we are in the cycle of unity consciousness. Unity consciousness. So you can listen to Carl describe 288,000 days ago, our history. And you realize that that consciousness, which probably came much from the world that Alexander is talking about, tells us that today we would become global. And they said at 3114 BC that today in 2012 we would be global in consciousness. So, is that true? Does everybody have a cell phone? Are people members of the Facebook? Can you tweet? Can you take a picture of your foot and in 6 seconds send it to someone in Las Vegas, Nevada? And then send it to someone in China and Hungary and Palestine, and you can send it to the damn space shuttle. You can send it to the space station, all in 4 seconds. So, if that is true, then is what the Mayans are telling us, according to Carl? And does the consciousness that it can possibly come from passing from them through Alexander into this world? The answer is yes, if you have a cell phone. The answer is yes, if you have a computer. The answer is yes. If you're on Facebook, the third largest country in the world is Facebook. Only China and India are bigger. So we live in a universal connective world called cyberspace or the internet. So Alexander's conversation proves there are dimensions that what the Maya, through Carl's interpretation, is real today. Now think about that opportunity to accept that as the truth about who you are and where you are and why you're here today. And own that. Own it. We are a part of the revolution to create the value of a new cycle that starts this year. And what we think and how we look at each other, according to Alexander and according to Carl, is how we have a unity consciousness, how we think collectively. So everybody look to your right at the person next to you now. Everybody look to the right. Now everybody look to the left at the person next to you. Send them love. Take a breath and send them love. Send them your unity. Send them the collective feel. Because until we do that, we will not feel the world that Carl is so excellently explaining to us on monuments that's in Mexico. It's not on Mars. It's not in some faraway hidden place. It's in Mesoamerica. It's in Bosnia. It's in India. It's in China. We're there. We are connected. So take a breath. Take a deep, come on. What just happened is most of you sent love like I asked you to. And there is a calmness over you. Feel right here. There is a calmness. There is a calmness. Why that calmness is uncomfortable is because you did not give your love a value before you sent it. We have become so ingrained and indoctrinated to believe that our love has not an established value before we give it. And what happens is we just wait for someone to give it back to us before we feel it truly has value. That's crazy. Because you never know where your love is, because you're basing it on what everybody else interprets it to be. Think about it. Who are you and what is the value of your love? Watch this. How many parents are here with their children? Raise your hand. I sincerely thank you. Because the value of our love, if what Alexander is saying is true and what Carl is saying is true, the value of our love is the difference the divine unfoldment of a new age will be. The dawning of a new age this year. We better change, everybody. We better place a value on our love. place of value. How many husband and wives are here? Raise your hand. And I sincerely thank you. Because that's support for each other's search. And it comes about because you are loved.
As for Sambo.
What?
As for Sambo. How many Sambo girlfriend, boyfriend, then?
I don't know what he said. It sounded like English, but it was like he put his hand over his mouth when he was going, that's the Sambo.
They live together, that's called Sambo. When you live together, they don't marry.
Well, you know, I mean that on a certain level.
Yeah.
Marriage is when you put up with each other. So how many people put up with each other that are couples here? And I sincerely thank you. Because it's a value of your love, everybody. It's a value of your connectiveness and your sharing. So that's Alexander and Carl. And then there's Jörgen and me. In all of that, which is Alexander and Carl, which I believe to be true. Come to think of it, I know it to be true. And then there's Jörgen and me. Where do we fit in this cosmic unity? Well, we fit here as we're developing this paradigm of our new value of our love and who we are and what we're doing here and what our spiritual mission in a multidimensional reality is. That's what we're trying to find. You're trying to find you and the value of your love. What else do you search for? Nothing. Because if you have a value of your love, you have a way to connect to the divine source of flow to see a value of you as a creator of a new age. Because if what Alexander says and what Carl is saying is true, and the documentation of it exists on the earth today, you have no choice. We either become or we fail. So what Jörgen and I represent is another part of that place. That part is, I can state unequivocally, without any question, is that death never happens. You will never die. And everything anyone has ever told you about death is not true. It's not true. How do I know? Because I got struck by lightning. I didn't contemplate my navel in the mountains of India. I didn't study. I didn't get channeled from some terrestrial interdimensional beings. I wasn't the genius of Carl, the philosopher, historical value researcher. I wasn't Jörgen. I did not believe any of this. I come from the southern part of the United States. Everybody goes to hell there. Because you have fundamentalist religion. They talk about somebody named Jesus and some guy named God. And they talk about him like this. One day I saw God. And I know that Jesus God. Think about it. One day it was crazy. I grew up a tough guy, bad boy. I would knock you out. And when I learned about shooting people, it was more fun to shoot them than it was to knock them out. And then I discovered the Marine Corps, military, where the more damage you did and the more you killed, the better everybody liked you. And I was really good at it. I would give you the maximum opportunity to die for whatever you believed in. And no matter what you said and thought today, if you were my target, you were dead. You just didn't know it yet. And that's what I was famous for. Until I was talking on the telephone. Bam! It throws me. I'm sitting like this, holding the phone. Lightning goes into the side of my head. It goes down my spine. It welded the nails of the heels in my shoes to the floor. Because of the nails in the floor, like any wooden floor, I was over the nails. It throws me out of my shoes, it suspends me in the air, and it slams me back down on the bed. Dead for 28 minutes. Completely paralyzed for 6 days. Partially paralyzed for 7 months. And 2 years to learn to walk and feed myself. 2 years. The big thing about a day was that I didn't wet my pants. That I didn't pass out. That I could take a step. And that I didn't hit the wall and break my nose, which I did twice. I didn't pass out in the yard and hit my nose and blood run out of my nose and ants crawl in my nose and in my eyes for 4 hours before someone came by to check on me. And in between that, I was moving in these worlds. These worlds where the multi-dimensional reality of the spiritual world existed simultaneously with the world that Alexander and Carl is talking about, but the place that Jörgen draws from. We don't die. It's never going to happen. And you have to stop and realize that. So for this part, as we see a chance to explore what Alexander's books are about and what Carl's information is about, and as that we are the dawners of a new age, we're the mind house, where families and friends coming together in unity to move forward thoughts of love and consciousness. So now, take a value of your love, that you are the difference, that the next 144,000 days depends on you. The same thing that Carl just described the last 2,888. And it depends on you and your love, your compassion, and your empathy. In the story, that's what it's about. If you're going to have union and unity, what in the world do you want in your union and your unity? Compassionate love, honesty, integrity, caring about each other, hoping the best for each other, and believing that you're capable of helping each other achieve that. Because if what they are saying, that's where we are.